Hi all, welcome to another Caesars at Home holiday bake video. I wanted to create an advent calendar myself this year, and instead of doing it in a DIY form, I decided to bake 24 treats for every calendar day until the big event. So I'm starting with one of my favorites, which is Vanillekipferl or vanilla Crescent Biscuits. And I'm going to make a quarter of the norm. So this is going to be a quarter of a butter that I'm going to cut into cubes. Half a cup of flour. I'm using gluten-free cake flour, but you can also use all-purpose flour. A pinch of salt. And I put quarter cup of tiger nuts, even though usually you would use almonds, but since I have a husband that's allergic to nuts, I do them with tiger nuts instead. And then I add one package of vanilla sugar. You can add just a normal sugar, but I usually use vanilla just to get a bit more vanilla flavor in them. And I use my dough cutter to cut the butter and the flour until it forms like sand-like consistency. After which I just use my hands to combine the ingredients into a dough ball. You shouldn't knead it too much. It should just come all together. And it shouldn't take more than 2 minutes. Even 1 minute should be enough. It's best if the dough is kept as cold as possible, because the butter starts to melt and then it gets a bit sticky. And if it's still firm and it's still not working for you after a minute, you can add 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk. The vegan version of this would just replace margarine for butter, and you can use 1 to 2 tablespoons of water. And then after this was done, I have put my ball of dough into the fridge to rest a bit and to cool down. You really want to keep the dough as cool as possible. After cleaning my work surface, I was still waiting for my dough to chill, so I decided to make my own powder sugar. Now, powder sugar is basically sugar with a little bit of starch, and you can do this in your blender, but I don't have a blender that does these small amounts. So instead I use my pestle and mortar, and you will see it combines. It's done in like 1 minute. So what I've used is 1 package of vanilla sugar and 1 tablespoon of erythrit, but you can also use just plain sugar. I choose to combine mine with the sweetener because I don't like when it's too sweet. And you can add like a quarter teaspoon of starch if you want. But I usually, when I do my own powder sugar, I don't add it when I'm doing these small quantities. And after you have added everything into your blender or your pestle and mortar, you start grinding. So all that I'm doing is just going round in the circles and breaking the sugars into the powder. As you can see, it's a very, very fast process, and it's done in a heartbeat. And then I just take all of the stuff out of the mortar and put it into the little bowl until the cakes are done. Okay, so now that my dough has chilled and my powder sugar is done, I can continue working on my Crescent biscuits. There are a couple ways that you can do it. I would usually do it by taking bits and pieces of dough with a spoon, and then I roll it into a little roll. Out of 1 spoon, I should get 2 small Crescent biscuits. So this is how my mom does it, and it's much easier to have the same quantity of the dough. And this is by rolling out into one big roll. So you take a little bit of flour onto your surface, and then you just roll out the dough until it forms about, I think it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. It's not exactly an inch, it's a bit smaller than an inch thickness. But yeah, it looks like a very big roll. And then I put it to the top of my silicone sheet because it has the sizes, and I cut everything into 1 inch size. And then I just start making my crescent roll. So you take a bit of dough, you roll it out, and you just make a little crescent with your hands and put it on your baking sheet. There are also specialized baking tins for making these half moons crescent biscuits, but honestly I don't like to have that many gadgets in my kitchen, and it really goes very fast by just making it with your hands, and it doesn't get stuck to the sheet pan because of the paper, and you don't have any issues with it. So I don't see a need to buy a special baking tray just for the crescent biscuits. When you are done shaping your biscuits, take them into the fridge and cool them down a lot, because otherwise you're going to get this result. Because I didn't cool my biscuits enough before putting them into the 190-degree oven, they have melted a bit more than they were supposed to, so they haven't kept their shape that well. However, when you sprinkle your powdered sugar on them and serve them with coffee, they're still perfect. As you can see, the next morning I just added a bit more powdered sugar on top, and I enjoy them with my morning coffee. So that's it for today. Thank you for being here with me. Take care and happy holidays. Bye bye.